This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello, you're listening to Swiss and Chips. I'm Joe.
And I'm Simon.
And I'm a Brit who moved to Switzerland 15 years ago and eventually became Swiss and made this country my home.
And I'm the person who grew up in the mountains of Switzerland. And together we have a family in the center of Switzerland. And every few weeks we talk about how it is to live in Switzerland, integrate in Switzerland, and become Swiss, I guess, right?
If you want to.
Yeah, if you want to, yes. We also want to help you a little bit how to settle in if you just moved here or if you plan to move here. And yeah, we talk a little bit about the listeners who send us questions and so on, and this and that and the other.
Yes. So what's on the menu today? First of all, we've got some super interesting messages that came in from you guys, which we're going to go through. We'll have our Swiss bytes. That's something kind of funny, interesting about Switzerland.
Shall I make the noise?
That's the surprise when we get to it. Okay. And then we've got the main topic we're talking about today, which is something we've been hinting at for a while because it's been on my mind, actually.
Also something we said last time we will talk about this time.
If you were listening then, it's, do you feel accepted as an expat in Switzerland?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be having our small Learning Swiss German section. And at the very end, we do a listener poll. So lots coming up in our episode today.
Let's start with the listener feedback. We got lots and lots of messages.
We've had so many, haven't we? It's so nice to hear from you all.
Yes, and all of them are saved. And every week or each time we talk, we try to pick up a few. So if you don't hear yours yet, it's somewhere in the pipeline.
It's in the mailbox. So we had such a nice and interesting message from Monique, actually. And I was saying to you, Simon, before this episode, have you ever seen that film Sliding Doors? You said no. That's okay.
I said no, yes.
But if you have seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, it's about what happens if you take a kind of different path in life, basically. And this is what I felt like when I read Monique's message. So Monique said that she found our podcast when she was looking for the true meaning behind the Pro Patria pin that she purchased from the Swiss Embassy in South Africa. And that's what we were talking about 2 episodes ago, I think.
Yeah.
Because I also bought one and didn't know exactly what it stood for, but I was in the post office and I asked, and then I came home and we researched it together and we found out loads about it. And so, you know, it feels like 2 worlds collided here.
Yeah, amazing. I love that message.
That's really nice. Anyway, Monique wrote to us that she's Swiss South African and she's looking to connect more with Switzerland, basically, and potentially relocate here, find a job here, and get in touch with her Swiss roots, basically, which is super exciting.
Yeah, she also asks if we can give her some tips about learning Swiss German, integrating into Swiss society, and seeking job opportunities. And the only thing we can recommend is to go back to our old episodes or search a little bit on our website, because all of these topics we made a few episodes. And if you have any specific questions, just write to us and we can either talk about it in another upcoming episode or maybe just share it to our audience and someone else can give you some tips.
Mm-hmm. And this topic of integrating into Swiss society, that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So keep listening. Cool.
Let's go to chat. He also, has to be said, wrote us 2 messages. One, he also gave us some topic suggestions, which were all of them were great.
Top notch.
So them we saved in our bank for later. Yeah, Swiss bank.
That's next to the mailbox.
Yeah, exactly. In our Swiss
house. Swiss chalet.
Safe.
Yes,
bank
that's
safe.
right.
But he wrote another very nice message.
Yeah, he said that he's been living in Zurich since 2017. Mm-hmm. We're assuming that Chat is a he, but I actually don't know if Chat is a male or a female name, so sorry about that. I often get that with my name, Joe, if people haven't heard me speaking, by the way. Yeah. Anyhow, Chat wrote, this person's been living here since 2017, found our podcast during their adventure year in the UK. I'd love to know more about that. That was back in 2022. And our podcast made them miss Switzerland so much that they came back the year after and now here for the long haul. Wow, that's so nice, isn't it?
Amazing. Probably not 100% true, but super nice to hear. We just take it. Yes, it is.
And also a great book recommendation. They said that Kim Stanley Robinson's The Ministry of the Future, they listened to it as an audiobook. One of the places it's set in is in Zurich and a few other places in Switzerland as well. It's pretty interesting. I've actually never heard of that.
Yeah, I'll link it in our show notes and then people can find it.
Awesome. And we had a super interesting and very detailed message as well.
Very personal.
Yes. Yeah. We haven't got the name for this person.
Let me find it while you talk about it.
Okay. Well, we had a very nice message from a dad who's living here in Canton Fribourg. And we were talking about if you could change one thing about Switzerland, what would it be? And they were saying it would be the 2-hour school lunch break.
It was Ken.
Ken, thank you so much. All right, Ken, thanks a lot for writing. Yes, this traditionally there's been a kind of long lunch break for school kids, and the kids supposedly go home and have lunch cooked for them by someone slaving over a hot stove. I don't know who that person is.
Yep.
And if you don't have that person, you have to pay for someone else to take care of them, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, he complained about that, and we sympathize 100%, basically.
Yeah. Also, all in all, I would say he gave us many tips that we can share. Basically, also seems like he had a hard time, so I'm really was heartbreaking to read. But hence, there were a few things he was annoyed about, but all in all, he was still happy with the experience. But I think a few things that are worth mentioning is he also had this experience that he would recommend to live in a bigger place instead of in a bigger city instead of on the countryside because of the language barrier and so on.
100% agree.
Yeah, and I think that is probably easier.
Yeah, if you move here and go to a village and you're like the only, foreigner in the village, it might be a bumpy ride. Not definitely, but maybe.
And I think many of the things he said is also things we talked about in the past episodes, like learn the language as early as possible and try hard to make friends in clubs and so on if you want to socialize. And many things he said that are also important, that prepare when you come and so on. And I think it's many tips he shared that I just mentioned we talked about in the past. Some of them or many of them are also very challenging.
That's so true. Yeah.
That you have to make the effort to find friends, to socialize, to find all the things about your taxes and how to health insurance and so on. It's a lot to deal with. I think it's important also just to be aware that it's not straightforward. It's not like you fill out one form and that's it.
Oh, no. If you like filling out forms, though, move to Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have a lot of fun doing that.
But also I would say, it's one step at a time and you can do it. It shouldn't stop you of coming.
No.
But it's just,
There's going to be some paperwork for sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
But he also says, and this is really important, I think, that there are loads of great things to do here. It is a stunning place, as he said, and it's also in the middle of Europe. Sometimes it feels a bit weird to say that, like, it's in the middle of Europe, you can go to other places really easily. And we kind of joke about that sometimes, as immigrants or expats living in Switzerland. But it's true. You can go to loads of really nice countries all around and spend time in Switzerland as well. So that's definitely a good thing.
Absolutely. He gave also the one tip. If you are going to be here long term, make a plan to get on the property ladder. I thought, yes.
Good advice for life in general.
It's true, yeah. But it's also not so easy.
Not always possible, yeah.
So thanks a lot for the long email and wish you all the best. Shall we move on to our main topic of today?
Yes, please.
So I thought we can start with our last week's poem. No,
yes.
I always say last week. It wasn't last week. It was just the last episode, yeah.
Yeah.
With our poll where we asked, do you feel accepted as an immigrant in Switzerland? And 33% said mostly, 19% said mostly not, and 48% said, I just want to see the results. So I assume they either want to see the results or they are not immigrants.
Or don't live here.
Because I clicked on, I just want to see the results.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I'd say mostly 33%, not so much 19%. So it's like 3-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty interesting split, really.
And there was one comment as well in our last week's episode, which I found. Shall we also just mention it now, or do you want to go straight to the poll?
Well, if it's to do with this, then yes, please.
Yes, I think it's also interesting. Alicia, she wrote to us in the past. We mentioned her a few times. Hi, Alicia, and thanks a lot for your comment on our website. She said, first of all, we talked about the Gutsch last time.
Yeah, we did.
And she said the Gutsch, Swiss word, translates to a splash, a dash, a swig, a titch, all a Gutsch.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to add there?
No, that's it in a nutshell, I think.
And she said, I feel accepted, but I also speak Swiss German and I have a Swiss husband and work in a typical Swiss job. I think what it did for me was understanding I didn't need Swiss friends to be accepted. I have Swiss friends, but I also have a lot of expat and immigrant friends. I thought that's very interesting.
It is, and like over the past couple of weeks, just kind of coincidentally, I've been talking about this with a lot of people I know here because it's just kind of come up in conversation, basically. If people feel accepted or if they feel integrated. And I always feel like, that's such a kind of tricky question. Like number one, do you need to be integrated? Is something that I always wonder when this comes up. Well, and like integrated according to who?
Yeah. It's interesting. Oh, it's a very philosophical episode.
I've been brewing on this for weeks.
I can see that. I think there are two types of being or feeling integrated. And one is from your perspective and from the opposites, from the person on the other side. Let's say from the Swiss people. Mm-hmm. And I think you should feel integrated from your perspective. Otherwise, you don't feel like you're at home, do you?
Absolutely. I'm so glad we agree about this.
But then from the Swiss perspective, it's more like a political question. And so,
right.
It's more like, can we integrate them? And then I think the connotation with integration politically is always slightly, I wouldn't say bad, but it's controversial because integration has so much to do with you want people to be integrated so they're not,
isolated.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. See, this is where it gets this is where it gets interesting. This is not where it gets integrated, because it's this question of like integration versus assimilation. And in order for you to be fully integrated, do you have to become like a typical Swiss person? And I think no, you don't, because what is a typical Swiss person? Is it just what the majority of the country thinks at that time? Because there's a whole range of Swiss people living in this country.
Oh, so it changes over time. A typical Swiss person 200 years ago or even 50 years ago was not the same as it is today. And expats especially are a big part of this. They transform the typical Swiss.
Yeah. And it's also quite often a discussion in newspapers and in the media and so on. We hear a lot about like the expat bubble in Zurich or Geneva. People maybe come for a couple of years and they don't learn the language at all and then they leave.
Yeah.
And if you read some of the Swiss newspapers, you would learn that this annoys the Swiss. It's, to put that on a very basic level. This is a subject of annoyance in Switzerland. And they say, how can we change that? And I think, well, do you have to? People can come and go.
Yeah, it's just
that's okay.
It's an extreme generalization we are doing now, I think. There are so many different types of immigrants and expats and temporary expat. Imagine if you come for a year of school exchange. Do you need to integrate? I really don't think so. You come here to have a glimpse of our culture, hopefully, and you go back home and you're happy. And I don't really see why you would need to integrate for that.
Yeah.
But you need maybe to integrate within the school system, within friendships you have at uni or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have people who come here for life, for living, to grow up, to grow their children, or, be here with partners, or to just be here alone and just love the country and want to stay. And then, maybe they want to become part of Switzerland. Maybe they don't. I think it's you can't really say that's how it should be. It's so many different people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And situations.
And I think, generally speaking, like we were saying a little bit earlier, it's going to be easier for you if you can communicate in a language that's understood by other people here. And the more you know about a place, the easier it is going to be for you to live there. So probably that will also make you happier.
Absolutely.
I think. But, you know, for Swiss people and non-Swiss people alike, there are those who like to be more by themselves or don't want to join clubs or hang out with people. And I think that's also okay.
Yes, I would say from a Swiss perspective, it's also the one thing people want is to give expats or refugees or anyone coming to Switzerland opportunities to integrate. You know, that they're not isolated.
Yes, and that's very important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why it's such a political discussion, you know, and I think many Swiss people feel like we give them opportunities, so they also have the responsibility to take some of these opportunities, you know. And it's a little bit as if you would invite someone to come to your house and you say, here is cake and here is this and here is that, feel at home. But some people maybe don't want to eat cake or want to have a drink. They just want to be there, have a look around and, you know, talk to people and then go home, or even don't even talk to any one of the other guests. You know, they just want to talk to the people they come with and then they leave together.
Yeah.
And then some Swiss house owners, you know.
I like this metaphor. Yeah, let's stick with it.
They feel a bit, you know,
snubbed.
Yes, they think like, I made all of this for you and you just come in, look at my house and, you know, went to the nice terrace, took a few pictures of my house and then you just left without giving me anything in return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's how many Swiss people feel, or not many, that's a little bit this political back and forth, and that people think like, well, this expat comes here for 1 year, works at the pharma industry,
takes the money
and then leaves.
Yeah.
And looks at our mountains and then leaves.
Yeah.
You know, this is maybe a little bit like that sometimes, but I wouldn't say, you know, it's hard for me. I'm just one person, you know. I think all I can say is there are many different views.
That's totally true. And what I kind of come back to quite a lot is, you know, having been through the process of becoming Swiss myself, that was, how long ago was that now? A
few years ago.
It was about 5 or 4 years ago, basically. Yeah. You know, the requirements to become Swiss, I personally think in the canton and the city of Bern anyway, that's where I did it, I think they're not too high, you know, and this is kind of difficult because they want to put the requirements within reach of an average person, you know, not make it too high, but also not make it too easy. So people have to kind of also want it at the same time. So I think, you know, if you look at those, you know, what's your level of German? Are you not a criminal? You know, do you do something to kind of fit in with Switzerland, whether that's like having a job or a family or some friends or whatever, you know? I think it's not too tough. And so when you look at that, you can say, well, according to the people of Switzerland and the local governments, this is enough.
I agree.
For this person. And so more than that, I think they can't really ask for.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say also many people, house owners.
Yes.
They are very happy if you come and have a look around, enjoy the stay and do whatever you want and just leave. You know, who cares?
If you don't hurt anybody, then it's also.
Yes. And okay. I also would say this is also preconception.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you are the person who thinks about that, you know, will I fit in? Do I do the right things? Will the Swiss be happy with me or not? And you have any sort of concern, you're already that person that Swiss people have no problem with. Then you're already, you know, made enough.
Yeah.
More than enough, I'd say.
Good.
We could talk forever about this, I guess.
We could, yeah. I also feel like I've got more to say about it, but, you know, we covered the main bases here.
All right, let's move on. And if anything crosses your mind, just come back to it.
All right.
Let's move on to Swiss bytes. There was an interesting expat series on Swiss national TV. It's in German, unfortunately.
Ah, yes.
But I will link also, it's a 4-part series and it's very short. I think it's 10 minutes each or something.
Somehow I missed this. When was this?
A few months ago, I guess, in the 10 for 10. It's 10 to 10, always every evening on 10 to 10. And there are 4 parts. I'll link it in the show notes. The one is the recruiting, you know, companies finding expats to come here.
Ooh.
The second part is 2 portraits about 2 expats living in Switzerland. They interview them and talk a little bit how life is and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the third part is finding a place to stay. It's about the housing market, which is very tense because, many people want to find not so many flats.
Mm-hmm.
Last part is the integration. I thought some might find it interesting, although, as I said, it's only in German. But I will link the 4 parts.
Mega interesting.
Our show notes.
See, and that also just goes to show how big a topic this is in Switzerland. Yeah, expats are a big topic in Switzerland. They really are.
Yes, it's also a big portion of the population.
That's true.
So, let's move on. Learning Swiss German with Swiss and chips. The word today is Glüschtelä.
I swear you're making them harder every week, aren't you?
And no, it's harder for me maybe to translate.
Glüschtelä.
Yes.
I'm going to need a clue.
Comes from Lust. Lust, isn't that an English word? Like Wanderlust?
Lust is.
Lust, okay.
Yeah. Is it when you want something?
Kind of, yes.
Like you're thinking about something. Like right now I'm thinking about chocolate cake.
Yes and no. It's the verb, but it's a thing you do. And especially, I would say it's most often used for dogs.
Dogs?
Yeah. Let's say we eat our servola, a nice hot sausage, a hot Swiss sausage.
Yeah.
A dog will come and look at, well, that's what our dog always did, and look at you and make dog eyes. And say, and then you can say, hör auf Glüschtelä, stop Glüschteling. Stop, And so you can also, if let's say it's a very hot day, I have an ice cream.
Yep.
And I will eat it in front of you and, like, yum. And then you can say, hör mi auf Glüschtelä, stop Glüschtelä me.
So you're the one who is Glüschteling if you have the ice cream? Or is it me who is Glüschteling because I want the ice cream? Because that makes a difference.
It's both.
Oh,
you are Glüschtelä, but if you do the Glüschtelä, then you are looking at me and basically begging me to give you some. And I can't enjoy my ice cream anymore because you're looking at me so much that you want it. Mm-hmm. But I can also Glüschtelä you with my ice cream and just eating like, ha ha ha, I've got an ice cream and you don't. It works both ways.
Gosh, that's interesting.
And there is even the, not the verb, but the noun, which is a Glüschtelä. Yes. That's a person who does it. What? But it's negative because that's a person who is looking at mostly it's men looking at women, let's be honest. Like in a
inappropriate manner.
Yes.
Like making sexy eyes at them.
Yes.
Or just sort of gawping at them.
Peeking at them.
Yes. Blimey.
Yes.
In an illegal way. Like through a peephole in a toilet door.
No, I wouldn't go that far. Then we probably have other words for these.
Goodness
me.
No,
it's more like, let's say...
making eyes at someone.
But, it's... it's someone... yes, in a gross way at a swimming pool.
Leering.
Huh? Leering. I don't know the...
To leer at someone is sort of, make like a gross suggestive face at them and you're basically. Like, ew.
Yes, that's a Glüschtelä.
Okay, right. Good. So...
The verb is completely innocent and it's a to Glüschtelä.
I'm so glad we cleared this up.
Mostly
Moving on.
used for dogs.
No, we didn't move on. The thing is, the dog makes puppy eyes at you.
Yeah.
When they want the thing.
Puppy eyeing.
Puppy eyes.
Okay.
They make puppy eyes at you and they're begging for the food. I don't know if there is a word beyond that.
Okay, we need Alicia or someone.
Oh my goodness.
All the words.
And then if you have like the ice cream or whatever, and I would like it, when it's
tease
on you.
I'm teasing.
Or sort of tempt maybe?
Yeah, tempt. Yeah. Well, anyway, I couldn't find... it is. But I hope I explained it roughly how it can be used.
Yeah, you did. But now I feel like there's a gaping hole in the English language. Yes, again.
Yes.
Hopefully one of our listeners has got an answer for this. You normally do have.
I'm sure someone will. Now, let's go to the listener poll. And today we want to know a little lighter thing in comparison to last time. Autumn season has started and it starts to look really nice. And we want to know which is your favorite season. Spring, summer, which should be the correct answer.
No.
Autumn or winter.
Yeah, what's your favorite season in Switzerland? And we're going to talk about some super nice autumnal things next time.
Okie dokie, so that's a wrap. Can I say that?
Most certainly you can.
That's a wrap.
And thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.